to another edition of ACG Research Hot Seat. Today we have Ray Mota talking about CDN. Welcome, Ray.
Welcome, Karen.
To give you a little bit of background, Ray recently completed a comprehensive CDN report, and today he's going to touch upon the CDN market and answer maybe a few key questions for you. Ray?
Hi, Karen. Thanks. Yeah, one of the things that the main things why we got started with the CDN report and the motivation. Why don't we take a step back and tell you a little bit about ACG? ACG is a networking and analyst consulting firm focusing primarily in the service provider space, and really our niche has been looking at the market from a service provider's approach, where we look at everything from the data center market all the way up to the core of the network. And we focus on what we call the vertical and horizontal. From an horizontal perspective, we know a lot of different technologies. We all come from a technical background, but we do what we call the verticals, where we're able to address the high-level executives, the why before the what. Mm-hmm. So we focus on strategy, and then the implementations, or what I tend to call the so what and why should I care. So that's a little bit about ACG now. The motivation factor between the CDN report, there were a few reasons. We were getting a lot of calls when we talked to a lot of the carriers, some of the Wall Street, even some of the vendors that seemed to be a little confused on the CDN market. And to be honest, we were actually confused. So what we wanted to do is just more of a market overview. So we want to look at the market from who are the key players, what are some of the key trends, and then how the outlook of this market look. And those were some of the motivating factors behind it.
Who are the key players then in the CDN market?
It's interesting because it's starting to change little by little, but and there's many players. So if we look at the CDN market in particular, some of the top players are Akamai, which has been around for a long time. Then the number 2 player in the market is Limelight, and then ironically, the number 3 player is called Level 3. And Level 3 is not what we call a pure play CDN. They have a traditional carrier business and have a small component of their business. But then you have like 50 other players out there. Some of the ones that come to mind that have done some good things in the industry have been Big Gravity, done a really good, excellent job at partnering with some of the carriers. You have some companies like Edgecast. And these are companies that are really looking at to say, how do I create a value chain for a lot of these carriers? And what I mean by that is that in the market, there's this whole transition of traffic growth. There's this thirst for content, thirst for more bandwidth. But what's happened is that a lot of people realize that people are willing to pay for what we call high quality, high-end experience. And the content, or the CDN folks, realize that you have to create a certain environment, a certain best practices, a certain infrastructure, not just on services, also the foundation technology, so that you can deliver these videos as close to the customer as possible. And the way you do that is by creating regionalized caching and extending it so that it could be fast, reliable, and there's no degradation in the quality of that content. And you notice I say content, I don't just say video, because when we look at the CDN market, it's more than just video. Video, yeah, rich media, content is a component, and video are bigger packets that take advantage of that. But then you have web objects, you have download, you have application, and different types of components that can be accelerated, some type of web accelerator. So all these components become part of the CDN offering. You have companies like Akamai really offering a full breadth, a larger breadth of different services in there. But you have solid players like Limelight and some of the Big Gravity folks, catching up there.
Okay. Okay, so tell me, what are the key trends you're seeing in the market with these players?
It's interesting because it's literally a bloodbath in some of the cases. And what I mean by that is that you have some of the CDN vendors that offer what we call some of these pure play high rich media, and they offer it at a premium for a price. But then you got some of these free services coming out, like YouTube, or certain types of companies creating their own type CDN. And those are challenging from that perspective because it kind of degrades the value of a true CDN network. So if you look at companies like Netflix, Major League Baseball, they realize that there is value in having someone that knows how to build scalable, reliable networks. So I think there is a need in the market. I think the important thing is when these people make the decision is versus make or buy type scenario. In my opinion is you should focus on what your core competency is and embrace a lot of these. Now, there's also a lot of carriers looking to make a decision to say, do I partner up with them? And you're seeing a lot of those. You're seeing some good companies partner up. Like I said, you have a lot of tier ones literally going out there and being proactive at creating a good partnership where they either do revenue sharing with some type of content. And from my opinion, I think that's going to be a survival tactic for a lot of these CDNs because you're going to see a lot of consolidation. I mentioned there's over 50 players out there. And since there are over 50 players, what that's starting to affect is that the price decline is starting to go down. If you look at the price or the cents per gigabit, it's continuing to go down. And that's not a sustainable model when you have that many people. So those that create those strategic partnerships realize that they need to extend the reach of their network. And then some of these carriers that come in and say, one thing I have is I have the reach of my network. So they could create really good partnerships to be able to leverage and kind of work jointly with each other. Now there's another big point too, is that when you look at videos, the last piece to get packetized and they're bigger videos and they take a lot more space. If you look at some of these smartphones, whether it's the iPhone or some of these other Droid type devices, the video experience is going to be another key area for the mobility side of CDN vendors in this particular market.
Any other comments you want to make about the CDN market?
No, I would say, when you look at the CDN market in general, it still relates to the business. So the CDN vendors that are going to be successful are the one that approach, whether it's the carrier or that particular enterprise, and approach it from a business perspective, not a technology play. And what I mean by that is they need to go in there and create the business value proposition and really show the capability of saying, here's the technology we offer, but here's how it ties strategically to your business initiatives, and show that cost value proposition to say, from a cost optimization perspective, this is how CDN. So the CDN vendors that actually do that, even if they're internally within a carrier, are going to be more successful in the long run.
This has been another edition of the Hot Seat. For more information about this report, check out the contact listing below. Our report covers 3 major topics: the market, trends, forecasts, the key players, and the influx of new players. For more information about the report, see the contact listing information below. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.